So, getting out of these caverns, we're going to take the back way into Gutzone and Zarene's house. We could follow the instructions on Oriana's letter, but that's inconvenient at this point, so we're just gonna go. Should be right around the bend here. Was it this one? I think they had a map out front. Maybe it was over one more. Here? No, this doesn't seem right. I think it was the one before. I think I had it right the first time. Gutzone, Zareen, are you here? Did I remember correctly? I did.
Hello, Pup. Happy we are to see you again. What brings you to Aramon?
Honored Mirari, I have some news from Oriana.
Sister, do you hear? She's in our thoughts. Some danger did we sense across her path.
Tell me about the Farcical.
It is a human distinction, as you know. That is the human way. They split their strong and weak, light from dark and good from bad. Primitive you be, Pup, and so forth schools use an energy from not life. They reach to the spirit plane.
What sort of danger?
What can say, or who can say? It struck fast, then it scattered.
Oriana described a sorcerer.
So it might be. It was a power fearsome and precise.
Who?
Unknown. There be no such evils in Quernia.
Do you know of a staff?
We do. The Staff of Necromancy. It is created with great skill. Avoid such wizards whenever possible. They mean no good. You are exhausted. Come inside and rest.
I fought some goblins.
Battles terrible. Poison plenty should you feel by now. You must go to the palace. Return to us in good health. Tell us, Pup. Have you found our wisest sister?
With the sister Zareen.
Yaraza is the matriarch of all Mirari.
I pressed the button too quickly.
Have you found our wisest sister?
How could you help me?
If you are presented, Yaraza will examine you. She'll know soon enough what help you need. Have you found our wisest sister?
Where would I find her?
There is a path along the river she does follow, but look closely as you walk. Look close indeed, for she will seem an ordinary trader. And of course, she only walks during daylight.
Thank you, Mirari. I will look for her. Nice chat. I'm gonna go around the bend here and take your money. Because we're such good friends. Alright, so here's their house in the cliffside. And here's their ladder. Do you see the angle this ladder is at? Do you see this? Yeah, I don't think I would ever want to climb that. For real. Up or down. Seems like a good way to fall and break your neck. But that's all the conversations on... well, in the caves at least. There's one more on this side of the river that we can hit up on our way out of town here. There's also one more thing I actually want to go check in the palace really quick. I'm so used to like bypassing all the story points that are unnecessary and like forgetting which ones are where.
Ah, a human wayfarer. Welcome you be in Aramon.
Well, thank you, stranger.
I be a humble one of many, but all Mirari will welcome you. Sure be I of that.
The people here are peaceful, aren't they?
Peace with one's sisters follows easy upon peace with the world of nature. How be relations at the castle, human boy? A while has passed since envoys from your king did visit here.
You know, I come from Gornia.
Ah, forgive you once an old one's assumption or presumption. It be perhaps your cut of clothes the strangers sent you bear. Careful we Mirari are to sense these things.
What else should we expect in Aramon?
Roam you may, the streets. They most secure will be. Our city be a peaceful. Ever since the city first was cut from the warm face of the living rock. You will good food be offered, conversation with my sisters will tell much. Our men be somewhat sullen, fear them not, they growl but seldom bite. It is good seeing young ones from the kingdom, being careful you shall on your trip to the goblin lands.
Thank you, we will. And we will be sure to tell King Phelan of your beauty as well.
Human boy, seems does it we are in the presence of a set of manners most royal. Your teachers taught you well. Pleased would I be if upon your return you sought my company for dinner. Serve you I shall. Look for me in the caves, human.
Ma'am, I'll do that. Oh, there's the journal entry. Takes a second. Struggles over there. I met a Mirari woman on the street today. She wants me to have dinner with her when I can. Oh, and we met Beckon today. I asked him to join the group. Yeah. Don't ask me how he inserted journal entries in between other journal entries. So let's hop across the river here real quick. This is the only place where you can cross it like that. I mean, there's the bridge, obviously, but when you're actually running through the water, that's the only spot. So, tuck into the palace here real quick. Might as well show you around the place. He's got instruments and, like, placards on the wall. There's this fancy throne with all these gemstones and stuff. Hello, Honor Murray.
Somehow you survived the forest? Ha!
You know who I am?
In Termino, they say you are cursed.
Excuse me, Honor Murray. So, history.
And so, King Ramsay, in order to fulfill the ancient debt, led his knights in a flanking attack on Grictical's hordes. The screaming of the horses echoed through the canyon that grim morning. Ramsay's display of honor showed in his placement of his son, Phelan, in the front of echelon. The battles met. Grictical met Ramsay upon that hill where the ancients had made their rune. Those antique stones absorbed the blood and entrails of both man and goblin. They had their surfight, and yet the blood did not stop, but kept its flow evermore. Cavalry fell upon spears, spear broke upon shield, shield fell upon ground. The silence became a men. Okay, so now we're up on the second floor here, and I'm not actually sure which of these placards to read next. I'll start with the one next to the door and hope that's right. Then, when hope was near unto lost, a soldier of no, it's not. Ah! That's the end of the story. We gotta continue the story, not end it. The battle is then joined. Ramsay stood tall against the setting sun, and rallied the Knights of the Wolf to his side. Phelan was there as well, father and son, holding each other tall. The wolves had all lost their mounts. Many of them had been bled wild or white deeply into the rune. And the sky was falling on the men. Grictical circled and taunted them, bleating hideous threats and sounding of sweat and thunder. Goblins jumped and cackled. Then, above all else, a lonely horn was sounding. Beckon and his rangers crested the hill, following after the sound of the horn, a horn that echoed through the ranks of the goblins and split them into shards. Then, when hope was near unto lost, a soldier of Ramsay's, Beckon by name, led a small group of the king's farmers into the fray. They cut their way to the center of the fight and freed his king. Ramsay then rallied his men and overcame the goblin horde. So that's the Battle of Lonely Mountain. Hello, Mirari. If you're not too busy. Speak not to we, Mirari, when treading our ground you be, human boy.
You know who I am?
The pale light of our cavern suits you not, squire. You had best head homeward.
Excuse me, Mirari. I don't think there were any other carvings. Yeah, that was it. That was all of them. So that was the Battle of Lonely Mountain. Was there supposed to be something here? I guess not. But, yeah, this is the reason why, Beckon feels guilty about the whole thing, because, like, that pack of farmers he led into the battle, they weren't trained warriors, and, like, he saw the casualties of war take their toll on, like, innocents, basically. And that's the reason he became so disenchanted with the knighthood and fled to Aranon. I'm pretty sure that's all outlined in, like, some story scenes you encountered throughout the game, but since we're going to be showing off, like, all of the characters, Beckon's not going to get enough spotlight for that to matter. So I figured I might as well just cover his backstory while we're here. And anyway, we need to get Beckon some experience so that I can get him his swordsmanship. And I know just where to go for that. So this is not the cave that I was told about. I already knew about this cave long ago. And if this is the cave I was told about, then I don't know where the Moon Pearl is in here. Or the Moon Gem. Where'd I get Moon Pearl from? That sounds familiar. That's a Zelda thing. That's what it was. I've been watching this weird LP by a person I've been subscribed to for a while, and he's playing a randomizer with a buddy that combines Super Metroid and A Link to the Past and shuffles all the items from both games and both players' games among each other, so they're finding each other's items and their own items, and they have to fight their way through both games simultaneously. It's kind of insane. Also, here's a boar. Come here, boar. So now that we've been through the road to Airmon, these boars shouldn't be anything. They're not going to give us any trouble. Beckon is... well, he's still got his warhammer, but we're definitely going to switch him to the sword. Because I said so. Chop! I don't know what time of day it is, but I'll assume it's fine. Go, Beckon! My god, you're slow! That boar didn't feel like doing anything. I'm certain he could have reached someone if he tried. Boars. We'll make short work of them. Go down. Thank you. They just don't feel like attacking. What's going on? Oh, it was going after Brenna, that's why. I just couldn't quite reach her. I always get a little paranoid when I see enemies throwing away turns, because I'm like, oh god, did I screw something up? It's happened before. Like, if you give an enemy a weapon they can't use, they'll just stand around. Like, well, if they have nothing equipped at all, they'll stand around. But if they have a weapon they can't use, they'll just stare at you. They'll walk up to you and stare. All kinds of weird behaviors that you just wouldn't see because the original game was at least somewhat sound in its programming. Let's not give it too much credit now. This is Aidyn. This is Aidyn we're talking about here. Aileron. Oh, he can't reach it. Perform. He even failed that. Good job. Die, boar, die. Almost got it. There we go. Okay. Now Beckon's got some starting experience. We got more huff. Woo! Now, I could head up this hill here that I can't turn the camera to see because it's wonky in this cave. But, there's nothing up that way. Like, there's an exit to the cave, but we can come around the other entrance. I want to go get, Beckon's sword. And I was just checking those bone piles to make sure they weren't hiding moon gems or something. Again, you just never know in this game. Seems a little unlikely those boars managed to kill anybody. I wonder if perhaps this cave is used by something else sometimes. So, in the original, it's impossible to tutor sword in this town. You could just take the warp back to Guernia, which would be fine, because they've tutored everything there. But, well, one of the changes I was certain to make in Plus is that you can find every possible skill in every town somewhere. So, all 10 or is it 12? All 12 of the available skills can be learned no matter where you go, plus all the weapon and shield skills, even here in Aramon. So the person you can learn sword from is the bootleg weapon seller in the cavern here. He's also the only one you can learn warrior from, but it's only level 1 warrior, so whoop-de-doo, right? Oh, speaking of skills, I should probably pick up Thief and Warrior for everyone in the party right now. Money. I don't quite recall who I gave Thief to. I think it's the ranger person, the person who sells ranger items. I need to talk to you, sir. I'd like to train a skill. My good friend is interested in picking up the sword again. He's already a warrior. Let's get it for you. Let's get it for you. Even just having it at rank 1 gives you, like, a little bit of a bonus. And both of those impact your damage in an enormous way, so... always good to have. We're gonna go get Thief, too. We can get Thief while we're at it. If I'm correct, and it's being taught by the ranger person. I did my best to make sure that they at least made some level of sense as well. I didn't just hand these abilities out willy-nilly. If I wanted to go ultimate convenience, I would just pick the most accessible shop and give them everything. But I feel like that's not as charming. Where am I going? I need to go to shop number 3. Let me get on over here. Now, for the sake of efficiency, you might think it would be a good idea for me to pick up the stupidity spell while I'm out here, but I actually nerfed debuffing spells to a certain extent. Yeah, see, you can get Thief here. Oh, he doesn't have enough. That's okay. That's okay, we'll get it for these two. Like, Stupidity's pretty well known for being able to wipe entire parties. I don't know if I told this story already, but I'm gonna tell it again just in case. And, like, I couldn't adjust the strength of the spell because we don't have access to that kind of information. Or that kind of mining capability. But what I was able to do is make it single target. So, you can still use Stupidity to brain dead enemies, but if you're gonna do it, you have to cast it one at a time, so it's not nearly as efficient of a sweeping tool as it once was. And I did the same thing for debilitation and clumsiness, although their uses for stat killing enemies are a lot more niche. Like, most enemies in this game have over 20 strength, so you could never strength kill them with debilitation anyway. Because the move and hit enemies just need it to be threatening in the first place. But let's head up this hill over here. This is where we would have come out of the Boar Cave if we went all the way through it. There's not a whole lot up here right now, but there is something special up here later, so it's a good location to know about. And there is this one little goblin tent.